What's going on, Washington fans? Welcome to Bleacher Report. I am Josh Taylor at Josh Taylor FB. If you've been on these streams before, you've seen me a couple times, and I'm here to talk about not this loss that we had on Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving, by the way. Ugly loss, embarrassing loss. I'm obviously on the road for Thanksgiving, so this isn't my usual setup, so bear with me. But got a lot we're going to talk about today. Obviously, I'll talk about a move that happened just a couple minutes ago. Real quick, some breaking news, but then I'm going to talk about really building around Sam Howell and what that looks like and what my plan really would be, what this team needs. And I talked about it on Twitter last night. Like I said, follow me at Josh Taylor FB if you don't already. But it was a hefty list. It's sad to say that in the 4 years of Ron Rivera, this roster really has looked this bad. Like it's really bad that you can really watch these games and just say that this roster has not been built well over the last few years. And especially with all the high draft picks we've had, the money we've put into free agents, there's just a lot of things that have not paid off for this team, which is unfortunate. But we're used to it. But I think that changes are on the way. And like I said, obviously, this morning, one of the bigger ones that happened, Jack Del Rio and Brent Vesselmeyer both have been fired this morning. So defensive coordinator is gone, and the DB's coach is officially gone as well. So that's some kind of change I didn't think would happen, but we know that it had to have happened. But it's just Josh Harris said he was going to wait till the end of the season. He was going to wait to see how everything plays out to really make changes on Ron Rivera. I thought, well, maybe they're going to do the same with Jack Del Rio and Brent Vesselmeyer. But after that embarrassing loss to the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, national, TV, a lot of people watching that game. It's one of those traditional games that you tune into. Even people that don't watch football like on a weekly basis are watching that game. So obviously Jack Del Rio fired this morning with Brent Vesselmeyer, and Ron Rivera came out and put a statement on Twitter, whatever, I'm sure it's on Instagram too, saying that I relieved Jack Del Rio of his duty. So he had to make sure that he put his stamp in there saying, Josh, don't worry, I did this. And I'm sure he talked to Josh like either this morning or last night and said, look, this is what I'm going to do. So let's get that out the way. Some kind of changes have been made. That's hopefully Ron Rivera's last public statement that he's ever going to make. But still, we're going to move past that on defensively. I'm focused on Sam Howell and really what changes need to be made this offseason. This is something I'm super passionate about. I am a draft head. I go to the draft, I go to the Senior Bowl, I talk to prospects. There's a lot of guys. I talked to Sam Howell through his whole process before we drafted him. I thrive for free agency in the draft, which is good because that's what this team does best, honestly. Even though we might not draft the best, but we're off-season champions every single season. I hate to say that. So let's check in with some chats and see what we got going on. I got some really cool polls and some graphics I'm gonna share with y'all as well. Pat_Ellis first said Louis Riddick for GM. I would love Louis Riddick for the GM. When I was doing the scouting academy, Louis Riddick was one of the people on there that did a lot of the videos, really walk you through how to scout like the wide receivers and DBs and stuff like that. So I love Louis Riddick. I think he's a great talent evaluator, and I think that he's also a smart business-minded guy when it comes to making, sports changes, especially in football. Let's see. CPY21 said Sam Howell has a lot of skill and could be the future, but he's got to limit those head-scratching interceptions. And that's something I want to talk to y'all about too. Some people actually don't think that Sam Howell is the answer. Someone here just says if we have a top 3, don't draft QB. Sam is the guy. Some people are saying, hey, if you have one of those top 3 picks, then you have to take somebody like a Caleb Williams or a Drake May. If he's there, I would hate to take Drake May and replace Sam Howell with his backup at UNC, but Drake May is legit, and so is Caleb Williams. I like Michael Penix Jr. as well. I don't really like Bo Nix, I guess, because I'm just that whole Auburn Bo Nix. I'm an Alabama fan. Just watching what he did there was terrible. But then, like I said, I like Jaden Daniels. This is a really good quarterback draft. So I get it. And this is something I said on here a few weeks ago when all the trades were going down right at the trade deadline. I got a lot of hate for it. I said, guys, the last 7, 8, 9 weeks, whatever it was, is going to be Sam Howell's audition for the next head coach, the next GM, the new front office, the VP operations. This is going to be a complete reset, guys. This is not going to be, hey, we're going to get rid of Jack Del Rio. We're going to bring back Ron Rivera. We're just going to ride it out another season. This is going to be a complete reset. I told y'all this beginning of season. I wasn't expecting much this season because there was only so much Josh Harris and them could do in the offseason to really prepare for this season. They were like, hey, this is like let's see what's going on. Let's see what Sam Howell has. Let's check out Ron Rivera, even though we know he's not the answer. Josh Harris said, look, we're going to see what we have in Ron Rivera. We're going to evaluate this team top to bottom. I mean, the concession stand workers, we need a complete evaluation of this team top to bottom throughout the whole season. So, but now that the season's nearing, we saw this team was bad. We traded away Chase and Montez. Now we're getting blown out on Thanksgiving. We get rid of Jack Del Rio. This is a process. Wasn't just going to be Josh Harris dropping a nuke in the middle of the stadium and then just blowing everything up. That's not what was going to happen. We have a lot of money to spend. We have a lot of draft picks now. This is going to be a place that people are going to want to come to, whether you're a head coach, a GM. The opportunities are going to be here. You're going to be able to compete against some of the best with the NFC East. We do have some good core players that I'll talk about. And if you do like Sam Howell, you have a guy on a rookie contract still, and he's going to get paid down the line eventually, obviously. But you have a quarterback kind of like the 49ers where they have with Brock Purdy. You have a quarterback on a young contract. That is one of the biggest luxuries in the NFL is being able to have that and spend money elsewhere around that quarterback. Now, if you get like a Daniel Jones or someone in that higher draft pick round, or Trevor Lawrence is going to get a bag, then you have to pay them a ton of money. Sam Howell, it's different though. So if you like Sam Howell, then you have a good base laid out for you. So let me drop the first poll for y'all real quick before I go on another rant. Do you think that Sam Howell is the answer? And this isn't I need to see more. This is a straight up yes or no. If the season ends today, is Sam Howell your quarterback next season? And like I said, this is a really good quarterback draft. So I'm not going off on people that are like, oh, we need to take Drake. I'm like, oh, that's a stupid idea. Because once again, you don't know what the new front office is going to want. And I'm telling you guys, I got so much hate for that, but it's a common sense business. When you're at the Senior Bowl, when you're at the draft, when you're at the combine, you're talking to these scouts, you're talking to GMs, you're talking to like head coaches. People, they want the players to be their players. If they did not draft Sam Howell, now, once again, even if they didn't draft Sam Howell, if he looks good and they like him, then they're like, yeah, we're going to run with this guy. He's got something. But you could also look at it from the other side saying, I did not draft Sam Howell. I don't like all those sacks he's taken. Maybe it's the O-line, but a lot of those sacks happened in North Carolina too. It was a trend. He was him and Malik Willis were like the two top sack quarterbacks in college. They were the most forced tackled quarterbacks in college football. So maybe they want to get their guy and just complete that whole. And if it's a true reset, then go ahead and get your franchise quarterback that you can build around as well. But like I said, I think that Sam Howell has shown me enough to where I'm willing to build around him. Now, where does it start? Like I said, first off, you need a new GM. Whether it's Louis Riddick, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. We need an actual GM. Mayhew, Hurney both have to go. VP and GM, and then Ron Rivera, the GM and head coach, both have to go. So first, that's top priority on top of Josh Harris's list, and he knows that. But you can't do anything right now in the season to really get, whether it's Ryan Poles or whoever, like I said, Louis Riddick, you can't do anything right now. Sure, they have a list. Sure, they're talking. I'm sure something's going on, but you can't interview guys and stuff like that right now. So don't be expecting us to be searching for our GM right now. But I guarantee you Josh Harris has his list, because even before the team got bought, you had people talking to Sean Payton. You had people talking to other coaches saying, hey, we are interested in buying this team. We want you to come coach for us. There's a consensus around the league that Ron Rivera is not it. I'm telling you, I've heard from other people. I've heard from draft people saying we know that Ron Rivera is not the answer moving forward. And people coming in here know that as well. So it starts at the very top though. Get a GM that knows how to spend money in free agency, that can build around him, that can make some of these moves I'm going to talk about, and then get a GM that can draft well, because we actually have a lot of draft picks this year, but we have not drafted that well the last few years, unfortunately. And aside from front office, you want to talk about on the field, it starts with better coaching. And I just completely blocked out his head right there, but it's okay. But Bobby actually used to be here in Washington. He should be on that graphic with all the young coaches that used to be here in Washington. But we need better coaching, guys. I'm telling y'all, there's no way. I don't care if Ron Rivera put out this statement saying, oh, I'm the one that fired Jack Del Rio, or Josh Harris said we're giving him the full season. Ron Rivera is not coming back. This locker room is completely gone. He has lost this locker room completely. And you can see it. And something I've said for a while now is you can just see that the players on the field do not believe in what they are actually doing. it doesn't look like they have any faith or belief in what they're doing. Now, like I said, there's a couple candidates. There's a couple I can run down. Bobby Slowick from the Texans is one of them. Passing coordinator has done a great job with CJ Stroud. Obviously, he's in the MVP race. I think he's a lock for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But you want to talk about working with another young quarterback in Sam Howell, or if they do draft another one, Bobby is a guy that I would love to have here. Ben Johnson, from the Eagles, Brian Johnson, even though they had a bad game yesterday from the Lions, they just can't win on Thanksgiving. So I'm not holding that on Ben Johnson. So there's a lot of big time options out there. There's a lot of young guys. You can go the college route. I'm really not too fond of going the college route. Doesn't usually work out. Maybe you go Harbaugh from Michigan. I don't know. I don't trust the kid or the guy, but I don't want Harbaugh anywhere near this team. I'm sorry. Like, that's the last thing we need is some kind of scandal or some kind of cheating going on with when Harbaugh comes here, like out of Michigan. I don't want Harbaugh. I would love some guy, like I said, like Slowick or either the Johnsons. But outside of that, like, don't go the college route. I thought about that in the past, but it never works out. It's not a good idea. Stick to guys in the NFL. And something else I said this morning as well is it seems like the vibes from what I've been getting the last 24 to 48 hours, especially, is it sounds like Eric Bieniemy might not even be back, not as offensive coordinator or head coach. Like, it might be an actual reset. And you want to talk about play calling yesterday? Oof. 4th and 1. First off, I'll start on this. 3rd and 1 should always be a run. 3rd and 1 is always a run because if you can't pick up 1 yard running the ball, then you've got some issues. But say it's 3rd and 1 and you get stopped at the goal line. Okay, I mean at the line of scrimmage. Okay, it's 4th and 1. You have the option, and the defense is going to guess maybe they're going to run, but there's still a chance that they could do some kind of short pass, some kind of rollout, something like that. But you should still get that 3rd and 1 when you're running the ball, anyways. Urban Meyer redemption arc? Absolutely not. Urban Meyer, the last thing he needs is to be around DC or the Nova area with the nightlife. Urban Meyer needs to stay far away from this team as well. I just thought it was funny how they were asking Urban Meyer like his thoughts on Harbaugh when the whole suspension of the sign stealing went down. I'm like, he should know what it looks like, honestly. So apparently A. Pruitt1 just put in the chat, appreciate it, said Josh Harris dropped a statement about the Jack Del Rio firing. I'll check it out afterwards, but appreciate y'all dropping some knowledge in the chat. Like I said, Eric Bieniemy's on the hot seat too. I know that Sam Howell's been good, but Andrew Wiley was his idea. Not looking too hot. He, said he wanted to kind of build this offense. Maybe he went and got Nick Gates, who got benched. One of our top free agent signings that we were supposed to have, he got benched. And then the play calling has been really suspect. And then you're talking about how production from your wide receivers has gone down. Terry isn't getting targeted. Terry isn't getting schemed open anymore. Jahan Dotson hit a slump. It seems like Curtis Samuel is the only one putting up any kind of production on this team. And Logan Thomas here and there. But then you start seeing a lot of B-Rob. They're starting to run the ball a little bit more, but they're starting to use B-Rob as more of a receiving threat, like out of the backfield. It's working. And Sam Howell's getting his production, but once again, your pass protection sucks. Your offensive line's inconsistent. They're getting beat on a weekly basis. Your play calling is getting looked at under a microscope right now because you're doing 4th and 1 out of shotgun on Thanksgiving. And people are noticing that, saying, like, what are you doing here? Make it make sense. Once again, when you have Louis Riddick sending out tweets, Dan Orlovsky, people are saying, like, what decision says we should have a back end shotgun on 4th and 1? None of that makes sense. So Eric Bieniemy is absolutely being looked at right now, and not in a good way. It's not like, hey, we should promote this guy to head coach. It's a, hey, maybe he's not even the answer at offensive coordinator, which sucks because I love Eric Bieniemy. I love his passion. I'm passionate about this game, and the people that are as passionate about it, like, I'm attracted to them. I gravitate towards those people. And the second that I heard Eric Bieniemy talk in Ashburn, I was like, I love this guy. I need this guy around this team because our players do not believe in what they're doing. And I think a guy like Eric Bieniemy can help with that. I saw Eric B at the landfill yesterday. Hopefully he was throwing away the offensive line. What did you think about firing Josh? I don't think it'll make a difference till next year. What's up, Doug? So, I mean, I think obviously it needed to be done. And that was the biggest thing, in my opinion, is I just want some kind of answer saying, like, changes are going to happen. I'm sick and tired of this whole, like, we see the same thing every single week. It's the same crap show every single week. So whether it's Ron or whether it's Josh Harris making the decision, Jack Del Rio being fired was big. And better coaching, the defensive side of the ball helps Sam Howell helps him out just as much, by the way. A good defense helps out your offense. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, I feel like Brock Purdy and that offense wouldn't be as good if they're playing from behind like every single game, like double digits. I think good defenses help out offenses more than people want to give it credit for. Let's see. Pat Ellis said EB is too predictable. I agree. I think a lot of his plays are too predictable. Let's see. Tyler is great too. Appreciate you dropping some comments. Let's see. Do you think Scott Turner would have helped us put more points against Dallas yesterday? Might have sounded crazy, but he did play call a good game last year against Dallas with Howell. Honestly, no. I think this team just has too many needs. And I think once again, it starts on defense. Like, the struggles with this team starts on defense. And I could say the same about the struggles of defense's offense. They never help each other out. They never complement each other. The defense is allowing 40-something points a game or whatever. Like, we are dead last in the NFL in points allowed. So you can't expect an offense to be dropping 35, 40 points a game to try to keep up with that. That's not realistic. But at the same time, the offense is not doing enough, whether it's turning the ball over or just 3 and out, or just not enough explosive plays to say, hey, defense, you can play a little bit more freely. You can play a little bit more aggressive because we're going to help you out when we get the ball back. And Heitengale said that fourth one was atrocious. There's 2 fourth and ones that were atrocious, and the third and ones before that were the worst. The third and one before the fourth and one ended up being in shotgun, a deep pass to Terry McLaurin. They got broken up. Could have caught it, but Gilmore was right there. And Gilmore got his little revenge from the Colts game. But the third and one was bad. All right, let's move on from coaching. Like I said, I could literally just talk about the coaching the whole time. Real quick, the poll says, do you think Sam Howell is the answer? 84% say yes, 16% say no. I'm still riding with Sam Howell. So I think he's the answer, guys. I'm not saying like I'm totally against drafting a quarterback because, like I said, anything's on the table. So talking about Eric Bieniemy, should Eric Bieniemy come back in next season? Yes, no, as only the offensive coordinator. That's it. And honestly, like I said, I'm totally with not bringing him back because right now I just haven't seen enough. All right, what next? We need the top priority for Sam Howell is building this offensive line. And Washington is actually in a really good position to do so. And I'm going to tell you why. Because right now we have the 7th pick still. So we have 8 losses. We have the Titans, Giants, and Bears right behind us, I believe, which is great because guess what, guys? We lost to the Giants twice, and we lost to the Bears at home in primetime TV. So we are in a position where if the Bears beat, who do they have? The Vikings. I think it's like Monday night. So if they beat the Vikings, they jump us. We go down a spot. If the Giants, they play the Patriots. Sweet, we beat the Patriots. We need the Giants to beat the Patriots bad because then they'll jump us. We will be right there in a top 5 pick, guys, which is great because if you look at this draft right now, how it pans out is the top 3 picks will be in no particular order. Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Drake May. Depends how that final 3 or 4 or 5 teams fall with the Giants, the Bears, the Cardinals, the Patriots. Like I said, the Titans are right behind us as well. We are well on our way for a top 5 pick, guys. So we can go ahead and start celebrating that if you're a draft head like me. And this is big because, like I said, those are the top 3 guys. What happens after that? More than likely, my guy Olu Fashanu from Penn State. Y'all know I covered Penn State the last 2 years. Love Olu, great guy, super young, has even more upside to him, and he's already the best tackle in this draft, in my opinion. Super young. I think he's still like 20 right now. Best left tackle in the draft. And I think he could go top 3. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if the Cardinals say, hey, we're going to stick with Kyler. We're going to get Olu Fashanu on one side. We got Paris Johnson on that right tackle, so we're going to go ahead and go Olu on one side. And then that leaves Joe Alt that could possibly fall to us if we're right there in the top 5. Maybe teams go corner. You've got guys like Kool-Aid McKinstry. You've got some really good edge rushers. You've got a generational talent in Brock Bowers, by the way. Yes, he is generational. I'm sick of the Brock Bowers hate. Brock Bowers is phenomenal. So you're really in a good position to get either Olu or Joe Alt. And I think when it comes to building this team, it's getting that offensive lineman of the future, that guy that we haven't had since Trent Williams. And the thing is, Charles Leno, he's hit or miss. You either love him, you hate him, whatever. In my opinion, like, he's an aging tackle. Talked to a couple guys, once again, that are in the draft community. I'm not going to say any names, but they've put some articles out saying that they agree. But Charles Leno is not the answer next season. He has about a almost $16 million cap hit next season. You would likely want to get rid of him post June 1st of next season. But like I said, guys, you want to get that top tackle to protect whoever is going to be quarterback, whether it's him, Brissett. I don't care if they bring in Joe Flacco. Like, you need a tackle of the future, that Wirfs, that Rashawn Slater kind of guy that's going to really help you on offense. And I think Joe Alt and Olu Fashanu are one of the best ones that have come out in the last few years. I think they are sure all-pro caliber guys. Not saying they're just going to automatically turn into all-pros, but guys, these are guys that you have to get. But say they go before you. Say we got pick 6, pick 7, whatever, and Olu and Joe Alt come off the board. Then enters my guy, Talise Fuaga, out of Oregon State, right tackle, who is a mover. I put him in the same category as Olu and Joe Alt, as that elite tackle prospect. I think he's the best. He's the only elite right tackle prospect in this draft, to be honest with you. And I think that he is worthy of a top 10 pick. Now, am I spending money in free agency on this offensive line? Tackle-wise, no. I think that this is really the draft that you have to really hit it home. Like I said, it's just, there's too much talent. It's deep. And then you want to talk about guys like Jordan Morgan, Patrick Paul, Chris Paul's brother is a really good left tackle out of Houston. These are guys that you can get in the second round that are starting caliber tackles. You can get starting tackles in the second round, guys. It's okay. Like, people get so mad when I do a mock draft and I have Brock Bowers in the first and then I have a tackle in the second. Like, why are you waiting until the second? Guys, it's possible. Like, you don't there's really good tackles in this draft. There's a lot of them. Blake Fisher's another good guy on the right side out of Notre Dame. So this is the draft where you have to build it up. We know that Wiley's not the answer as well. I'm not going to just pick on Charles Leno, because he has been reliable in the sense that he, stayed healthy, hasn't missed a game in a really long time until earlier in the season, unfortunately. But just the money just doesn't make sense to me. Just like the money for Logan Thomas doesn't make sense to me. It's not a personal thing. It's just, once again, it's a business thing. I didn't think that, I thought we would go with a better tackle entering into the season. You have Cornelius Lucas. Maybe you can run Cornelius Lucas if you go right tackle in the draft. So you get rid of Wiley, you go Fuaga in the draft. He's your starter next season. Maybe you go Cornelius Lucas at left tackle as your starter, as that 1 year gap. He's getting up there in age too. Oh, here we go. Tyler's great. Actually, just mentioned, I don't like that Cornelius Lucas isn't starting. Dude played good when he had the chance to play. He did. But can he do that for a whole season? Can he look good for a whole season, especially on that blind side for Sam Howell? That's important. That left tackle spot is more important than the right tackle spot. So you've got to build the O-line, whether it's Joe Alt, Olu Fashanu, Talise Fuaga, whoever. Maybe you move Wiley back to guard where he played at in Kansas City too. I think he's a better guard than he is a tackle. You got Grant Barton. You got Fuanga from Washington. I'm telling you guys, this draft has so many offensive line prospects I'm excited about. I'll talk about them on my YouTube channel, JTFB. So check that out as well. I'm going to start doing prospect videos next week, because that's what we have to look forward to. And there's a lot of players in the draft, and you got to hit them all. Let's check out the poll real quick before I move on to the next one. Should Eric Bieniemy be back next season? 54% say no, 27% say yes, and then 19% say as offensive coordinator only. So it seems like 27% people want him as the head coach. I don't. Like I said, maybe I do want him back as offensive coordinator next year. But I'm not going to be like, what the heck are we doing if he doesn't come back? Like, it would make sense to me. Now, here's the biggest question. Which would you take in the first round? Say we have top 7, top 8 is a lock right now. But say we even got like a top 5. Which would you take in the first round? Are you taking a quarterback? Are you taking an offensive tackle, whether it's left side, right side? Are you taking Brock Bowers if he's there? Or are you taking the Maserati Marv, which is the most annoying thing, by the way, Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, getting that weapon for whoever is quarterbacking next season in that first round? Let's see. The next one I got is actually leading into that. And this is getting better weapons for Sam Howell. This is my last point here. you can't really see it. Get more weapons. I should have thought about this when I made the graphics. I forgot my head's at the top. But get more weapons for Sam Howell. And that right there is Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. And there's a reason why I picked him. Because, if, once again, let me start with this actually. If you have a top 5 pick, because y'all talk about it right now, you can't, Agaby said you can't pass on Bowers or Harrison Jr. Bowers would be my pick. My YouTube channel, by the way, is JTFB, or just type in Josh Taylor FB, like football. For everyone that was asking in the chat. Like I said, I'm going to be going through all these people. But if Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to you at like 4, I don't see him getting past 5. He is like one of the most guaranteed hits of this draft. If he falls to you, it's going to be really hard to say no. Whatever GM looks at that draft board and say, I don't know if we're picking him. That is that's like swallowing a nail, like a hammer and nail, not like your fingernail. That's like swallowing a nail, guys. It's going to be tough to pass up on him. And same with Brock Bowers, because I think Brock Bowers is like that next Kelsey, Kittle. And people say all the time, why are you taking a tight end in the first, let alone like the top 10? Brock Bowers is not a tight end. Brock Bowers is an elite prospect. I'm going to tell you why. First off, he's one of the best tight ends receiving wise ever. But do you want to know who the finalist for the Lombardi Trophy is this season? The Lombardi Trophy is the best offensive and defensive lineman in the country. So that's defensive tackles, that's edge rushers, that's offensive tackles, that's guards, centers. The Lombardi Trophy goes to the top 4 offensive and defensive linemen. Okay, you're with me? These are the finalists for that Lombardi Trophy, by the way. You've got Notre Dame's offensive tackle, Joe Alt, who I just talked about. You've got Utah's defensive end, Jonah Ellis, who's like leading the nation in sacks right now. Then you've got Laiatu Latu from UCLA, the top edge rusher in the whole country. And you don't have Olufushanu, which is mind-blowing, by the way. He should be there over Ellis. But Brock Bowers is a finalist because he is that elite at blocking. He is the best blocking tight end probably of all time. And that's something that doesn't get talked about enough because he's so good in the receiving game. Brock Bowers is phenomenal. So say you run Lucas or whoever your tackle is next season. Imagine having Brock Bowers in the line with whoever helping block. And then he's going out for passes and he's hurdling guys and he's scoring 20 touchdowns a season. Like Brock Bowers is him. They're doing tight end screens with Brock Bowers. And he's taking them like 80 yards to the crib. That doesn't happen for other tight ends, but it does for Brock Bowers. Let's see. People said Marvin Harrison Jr. will have a Justin Jefferson type of rookie year. Yes. Marvin Harrison Jr. can literally catch anything. But I'm telling you guys, Brock Bowers is he classifies as a legit weapon, but he's also helping your offensive line immensely. You want to talk about pass protection? How many times has Bates and Logan Thomas been beat by a fast edge rusher every single Sunday? Brock Bowers is blocking Aiden Hutchinson. I'm putting money on that. Brock Bowers is not shying away from it, and Brock Bowers is still pretty young too. Once again, I think his ceiling can go up. Yeah, he had a slight injury. He's back. He looks fine. And another thing, talking about weapons, and I put Brian Thomas Jr. here for this reason. This is what I was trying to get to. Is that I gotta fix my shoe. He's a big body receiver. That's something we're missing. I know Terry is great in contested catches. He's body catching stuff. Okay. But we need a guy who can stack his DBs and can get separation on all 5 parts of his route. And over 6 foot. And I think Thomas is like, what, 6'4", 205, 210, something like that. I'd look it up. But I told y'all a few weeks ago, I would love a Mike Evans if you're spending money, because I don't think, I know he's been the most productive wide receiver for us this year, Curtis Samuel. And LeBron69 just said I would not let Curtis Samuel walk, has been our best wide receiver in multidimensional. I agree with you, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm spending the kind of money on Curtis Samuel that he's probably going to want. And that's unfortunate. I would much rather pay like a Mike Evans. And I know people are like, why Mike Evans? He's on the back end of his career. Dude, I don't care if it's a 2-year deal, whatever. He's hit 1,000 yards in every season of his career. Mike Evans is right there with Keenan Allen as the most underrated wide receivers in the last 10 years. I would love Mike Evans, a guy who can actually go up and get it. And yeah, like Stefan 30 just said, I think you can replace Curtis for his price. Send Curtis back to Carolina. I love Curtis. Once again, he's been the best wide receiver for us, which is crazy this season. He's been the only guy that's picking up third downs. He's the only guy that's actually making plays. You can put him in the backfield, which we haven't done as much as I thought we would do this season. But we need a big body wide receiver, guys. There's so many. Like, you want to go, I mean, Keon Coleman is another guy. He's going like top 10. But even outside of like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors, like I said, you got Brian Thomas Jr. There's a lot of big time wide receivers in this draft I like, especially in those middle rounds. And like I said, I'm going to be going to the Senior Bowl in February. I'm going to be watching these guys. I'm going to be talking to these prospects. I remember seeing like guys like Tank Dell and stuff like that at the Senior Bowl last year. And I was like, man, this guy's about to go off in the league. And sure enough, like we just aren't getting the production from our wide receivers this season, which is crazy because Sam Howell has all these passing yards, but the production has fallen off so much for Terry and Jahan Dotson. And it is concerning. Is it a scheme thing? Are they not like getting schemed open? It just seems like they're not getting the separation that they have been in the last few years. And outside of wide receiver, you do need a legit tight end. You need a really good tight end. And I don't think Logan Thomas comes back next season. Cole Turner's been a healthy scratch like 3 or 4 times this season. John Bates does not do it for me. Like, guys, I'm sick and tired of this mediocre tight end. Like, where's the Chris Cooley? Where's the Jordan Reed? Like, those were the days. I need that. Heck, even Vernon Davis gave us more juice than we have now. And he was like 40. And yeah, Diami's got to go. Diami's not reliable. I love my guy, Mitch Tinsley. Shout out to Mitch. I hope he gets a shot because I think he can be a good, bigger body guy. He's not crazy big. He's not like Brian Thomas Jr. Like I said, we need like that 6'4", 200-pound guy that's not slow. I'm not talking about Josh Doxson. I'm not talking about any of that. A guy, go watch Brian. Just type in Brian Thomas Jr. and watch LSU. Even against Alabama, he's stacking my DBs in his route, which is crazy because he's too big to be stacking DBs the way he does. He's too big to be getting that kind of celebration, like that kind of separation. It makes no sense to me. Like, we need that desperately. We need that deep threat. You want a guy like Jamar Chase. You want a guy, T. Higgins is a free agent. It's another guy people have been like talking about. Like, Josh, do you think we can get T. Higgins? No, because he's not leaving Joe B. I'm not leaving Joe B either if I'm a wide receiver. Like, give me Joe Burr all day. Like, if anything, they're going to tag him. I'm telling you guys, Mike Evans is a real possibility. The Bucs got to pay either him or Antoine Winfield Jr., and they can only tag one. Maybe they tag Antoine Winfield Jr. and let Mike Evans walk. And he was a hot topic of leaving earlier anyways. So, but outside of that, like I said, we need more wide receivers, need a tight end, and then also a running back. This is something I've had a hot take for a while now that people don't agree with. Antonio Gibson's not going to be here next year, guys. He's not. Like, straight up, he's not. We need a good second running back. Now, I've seen people earlier in the chat talking about a guy's like Estime from Notre Dame. Really good. I love Estime. He's the highest graded running back in the country right now, I think. If not, he's definitely top 3. Estime, then you've got Bucky Irving out of Oregon, who I love. He's lost me a lot of money this season, betting-wise, because I think there's some conspiracy going on, but I'm not going to talk about it. But Bucky Irving out of Oregon, really good running back. And Tyler's great too. I like Chris Rodriguez, but we need that elusive home run back. The only time Brian Robinson is an elusive home run back is when he's out in space, when he's catching balls. His longest run of his career is like what, 25, 30 yards is the longest run ever of his career. That's not good. We needed McKissick. He needed to retire though. But there's a lot of good running backs in this class too. You don't have to take a running back in the first 2-3 rounds. Look at Keaton Mitchell, undrafted out of ECU. I loved him, wanted him. Izzy Abanaconda is a guy I wanted last year. Like, I was dying. Like, these are guys that we actually interviewed at the combine and at the draft. Washington interviewed and brought in, I want to say it's like 7 or 8 running backs. I don't even think we brought in Rodriguez, but we drafted him. Shipley from Clemson would be good too. My guy Jace McClellan out of Alabama. Like, we need an elusive back who's really good. And this might change because we might have a different offense, but we need a guy who can run in the zone. We need a zone running back. And what I mean by that is a guy who can run between the tackles, but can also hit it outside, but that elusive guy. Like, I think we're going to run primarily like a zone blocking offense next season again. But I think that an elusive running back is just as big as a need. And I get it. Like, why are you going to spend so much on a second running back? It's not. Look what the Dolphins have when Devon Chan is healthy. With him and Mostert, are you kidding me? Like, that's crazy. And then once again, like I said, with Baltimore, they're running back by committee. They dominate teams because they can run the ball. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Swift, Gainwell, they dominate games because they can run the ball on you and they beat you deep. A run game, I know it's not the 90s and stuff like that. It's not as important right now to a lot of people, but I'm telling you guys, the running game is just as important as the passing game in today's league. You absolutely have to. And I love Brian Robinson. I think he's going to be a great running back one for us. I love what he can do for us. He's shown me a lot this year in the receiving game that he didn't even have at Alabama. I watched him for 4 years at Alabama. And I know he didn't really play until his last season, but he did not have those kind of hands. So he's gotten a lot better with that. He is really good at, the power running game. Like you said, Elias 1K, he's really good at being able to get those first downs and push through. But how special would it be to have a guy who is a threat to take it 80 yards to the house on a single run? Like I said, go look at Devon Chan before he got hurt, what he was doing in the backfield. Those kind of guys. Jamar Jordan out of Louisville. Yeah, he's going to the Shrine Bowl, I think. I'm not going to that, even though it's in Texas this year. Like I said, I'll be at the Senior Bowl talking to guys. We had Jennifer King there last year coaching up running backs. That was fun. Just seeing that. But I'm telling you guys, we need some more weapons. This team's top to bottom bad. And I know I talked about a lot today. Coaching, offensive line, just weapons in general. We don't have enough dudes on this team. And this is another thing. This is the last thing I'm going to leave y'all with. If y'all look at this roster, do we have any superstars on this team? No. That's it. That's all I'm going to say to end it. We don't have any superstars on this team. So I sent out a tweet yesterday, last night after the game. Like I said, follow me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, at Josh Taylor FB. This is what we need to do. Get a new GM, new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. That's a lot. We need to spend money on superstars on defense, corners, safeties like Antoine Winfield Jr., like I said, Snead, anybody. I think we re-signed Fuller because he is still somewhat young, 27, 28. And if we don't have Fuller next year, we're screwed. I'm honestly not sure what the heck we're going to do with Forbes. Guys, God, this roster's so bad. But we have no superstars on this team. Last thing, do you think Michael Carter would have been a guy that had 80 off of one run kind of guy? Yeah, Michael Carter is an elusive guy. And it kind of surprised me that we put in a waiver claim for him. I was like, yo, we should have interest in this dude. And sure enough, we put in a waive claim for him, but we didn't get him because someone else got him. I forgot who it was. Cardinals. But appreciate y'all stopping by, guys. Like I said, I'll post this up on my YouTube channel, Josh Taylor FB, if y'all want to rewatch the whole thing, if you came in late. But I appreciate y'all stopping by. I'll be back here on Bleacher Report to talk about some more stuff. As more news goes down, who knows? But in the meantime, follow me on Twitter at Josh Taylor FB, and I'll keep y'all up to date. Hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. Like I said, I'll be going back home to Texas tomorrow, super early. But hit me up anytime if y'all have any questions or anything, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to participate in all of your fantasy contests, whether it's the NFL, MLB, PGA Golf, NBA, even college football. This user-friendly app, you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. And my favorite part is that when you sign up in your first deposit and you use my promo code JTFB, they will double your first deposit up to $100. Now, how does it work? You pick lower or higher on stat projections that Underdog Fantasy gives you, whether it's passing yards, rebounds, points, you name it. And for each selection, say you want to select 3 people or 4 people, your odds go up based off of how many you select. My favorite feature, however, is sometimes I want to make 4 selections and I'm not feeling too confident in all of them. I love taking advantage of the Pick'em insurance to where if I miss one pick in my contest, I still get paid out on lower odds. So sign up today, download the app, and use my promo code JTFB to get up to $100 in your first deposit.